think the future for NGOs is kind of dark. There is a future for them. I just don't think it's the future that most people who support NGOs and who work in NGOs would want. I think we get a glimpse of that future in the projects that are being put forward for NGOs to work with mining companies in these very kind of contested projects. I think we get it, to justify them to the local community on the one hand, and then to kind of whitewash the reputation of these mining corporations at home on the other. I think we get a glimpse of the future in the work that NGOs have done in Haiti following the coup d'etat, where they were basically justifying the overthrow of a democratically elected government and providing cover for repression. And I think we get a glimpse of the future for NGOs in the work that they've been doing in Afghanistan and how they've really been completely integrated into the counterinsurgency apparatus and into the fight for the hearts and minds of Afghans and Canadians at home. And so it's a future, but it's a dark future. But I think on the ground, what they have the effect of doing is co-opting oppositional movements in many cases. They were doing this, ever since the 1980s, really, with the debt crisis, when there was opposition to structural adjustment programs. NGOs were kind of immediately identified by aid planners as a way of diffusing opposition and as buying off leaders of popular organizations. And on the other hand, kind of justifying, putting a human face on these really unjust policies that Canada and other Western nations pursue in the Global South, doing that at home. And so they have this dual role, which has come more and more to the fore as they've become more and more dependent on government funding and as they've become more and more integrated into the state apparatus. And so I think we have to ask the question, how non-governmental are these NGOs when they're getting so much funding from the state? They're a symptom of the problem, and the problem is we don't have a democratic society. We have foreign policy that's run by the 1% for the 1%, and that's really reflected in what's happening around the world, wherever you look, whether it's Honduras, where Canada supported a coup d'etat, or in 2009, or Haiti or Afghanistan, or any number of these places where Canada has significant interests. And so I think that's where our effort needs to go. I think that's where what we have to try to challenge is the whole kind of setup within Canada of who decides, who has power in our society, and NGOs unfortunately aren't able to do that because they've become a part of that power structure. They're not independent enough. They don't have the political autonomy that's necessary to carry out that kind of a struggle.